So for this first one, they want us to find the point that is 3, essentially like a ratio of 3 to 2. It means you got 3 on one side and 2 on the other side, but this would basically be the same thing as find a point that's 3/5 of the way from K to L. And so how you really attack these problems is we're going to figure out how far is K from L to begin with in terms of the X direction and the Y direction. So if we have K, we'll do X, we'll do Y, and this is L. Well, K's X value is -5. L's value, X value is 5. Well, what's the difference between that? That's +10. K's Y value is -4. L's is 1. What's the difference between K to L, like traveling from K to L? That's +5. So that partitions the segment in a ratio of 3. So partitions means it cuts it. So if we have this line here and we're cutting it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this is 5 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it means like the point would be here, to where we got 3 pieces over here and 2 pieces over here. So we have to go 3/5 or 3 out of the 5 like distances there. And so basically what this is, if you divide this by 5, right, you get 2. You divide this by 5, you get 1. So each part out of the 5 is worth 2 in the X direction and 1 in the Y direction from -5. So if we started at -5, I started at K and we're traveling to L, the first part, like if we travel one part, would be at -2, -3 by like adding 2 and adding 1 to the Y value and the X value. Then the second part would be at -1, -2, just adding 2 and 1. The third part, which is our answer, would be 1, -1. So our answer is D. So we got a graph for this one, and we're given A and B, and we want to figure out what the distance here and the distance here. This is essentially the same thing that I did over here, just without a graph. So if we're going from -3 to 12, I'll even do this again, like this. If you found that useful, I'm not really sure. A's X value is -3, Y value -2, B is 12, 4. From A to B, that's a +15. From A to B, that's a +6. 1/3 of the way. So divide by 3. Divide by 3. Well, one part of the 3, there's 3 total parts, and we want to travel one part there. That's +5, +2. So if we start at A, right, which is -3, -2, and we travel one part, 1 of the third, that's +5 in the X direction. So -3 plus 5 is 2. -2 plus 2 would be 0, and this would be your coordinate. For number 3, similar question. If point A has coordinates blah, and if point 16 is 3/4 of the way, what are the coordinates of point B? So we know that this is 3 out of the 4 parts. So we want to figure out how far, we'll call this point B, how far is point B from A to begin with? So I'll set it up the same way. -5, 3, 1, 6. So from A to B, that's a +6. It's a +3. But it says that point P is already 3/4, and they want to know what is point B. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have called that B then. Maybe we'll call this point C. So I want to find point B. Well, if this is 3/4 of the way, 6 is 3/4 of what number? Right? So you got to think about it like 6 is 75% of what number? And that number would be 8. 3 is 75% or 3/4 of what number? That would be 4. So B, if we start at A, -5, 3, point B is 8 higher than -5 in the X direction. So -5 plus 8 is 3. 3 plus 4 would be 7. That would be your answer for that. Number 4 is the same as like number 2 and number 1. Where the coordinates of point from D to E. So I think they're misspeak. That should be from A to B, because it doesn't look like there's a D to E here. So go boom, boom. I'll make the chart again. A, B, X, Y. A is -4, -4. B is 6, 6. So that's a +10, a +10. What are the coordinates that are 4/5 of the way there? Well, let's divide this by 5 because we're doing, there's 5 parts. So that means positive 2, positive 2. So if we start at -4, -4, one part would be -2, -2. Two parts would be 0, 0. 3 would be 2, 2, and then 4, which is a 4/5, would be 4, 4. So that's your answer. So we need to find the length of PF to the length of LF. P to F from L to F. Okay, so let's compare P and F like we have been. Let's compare L and F like we have been. So P is 535, F is 925. What's the difference here? Positive 4. What's the difference here? Negative 10. L is 1510 to 925. This is negative 6. This is positive 15. And maybe you're looking at this, you're trying to figure it out. Well, it says P to F to L to F. And so here's L to F over here. And it looks like L to F, right? And we're given ratios here. But notice that these numbers, like this would be PF, this would be LF. Well, who has a further distance, like magnitude? Forget about like positive, negative, just like the larger distance from 0. And hopefully you know like -6 is further from 0 than positive 4. 15 is further from 0 than -10. So LF has to have a larger number on its side because its distance is bigger. So we can get rid of B. And now do you see any common numbers that separate, like what's a common factor of 4 and 6? Maybe you're thinking 2, so if I divide this by 2, this would be -3. Divide this by 2 would be positive 2. What about 5 and -10? Divide by 5, that would be 3. Divide by 5 is negative. So like this is a 2 to 3 ratio. So that would be A.